welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. I am Jason J. Rock Houston. We're speaking with Patrick Stone, the lead singer and songwriter from Budderside. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Great. I'm accompanied by Sam Bam Kultun, guitar player extraordinaire.
Oh, great. Great, Sam. Well, welcome aboard. I got to tell you guys, every once in a while you hear people say rock is dead. And I'll just say we don't have rock stars like we used to, but Budderside is really probably the one band that I've really gotten excited about probably since the Dead Daisies. I mean, you guys got the songs, and we're going to be talking a lot about the new video, Too Far, because, man, just like every other video you put out before, I really love the video. It's quite impressive. I know you guys, it's kind of about people that kind of get pushed to that level where, they're dealing with depression or whatever. Sometimes they sadly commit suicide. So let's talk a little bit about the song, you guys, and kind of what it means to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the words. And yes, we definitely have, the rock star lifestyle ingrained it's in our bloodstream. You know what I mean? We've held on to that torch. That's what we love. So nothing will stop us from doing it. But there's a hell of a lot of LA bands that are definitely fired up and kicking ass, and we are just super excited to be a part of the wave that's coming in for rock and roll. But I'll throw the answer to Sam as far as Too Far is concerned. Want to talk about it a little bit, buddy?
Sure.
Yeah, the song is, it's definitely something, that subject in general is something that's very close to the whole band's heart. Patrick has had tragedy happen in his life, and we all know people that have, been kind of pushed too far.
Yeah.
To where, that's kind of how it is now today, especially with social media and a bunch of young people with their phones and all the stuff. It's, that's, the littlest thing can kind of push somebody too far to do something that they shouldn't do. So that's what, I think that's what we were trying to portray.
And the song really went, when I knew what it was about, I'm watching the video and listening to the song, it really struck a nerve. And just like all the songs that you guys put out before, I mean, you listen to it and you almost kind of think, man, this is like a page out of somebody's life. I mean, it really means something. I mean, and then you've done another interview with me recently for KNAC.com, Patrick, where you were sharing all these kind of family tragedies that you've suffered through. And I mean, I had no idea before, talking to you that you'd gone through all that. But, listening to the song, you could obviously tell it really touches home. It really means something to somebody.
Yeah, we're thank you so much. And we're just super grateful that we're able to produce something that is this meaningful, not only to us, but like the interview stated on KNAC,
yeah.
People have been reaching out, and that's just the most amazing feeling to know that you're touching somebody else's heart and maybe helping in some way. Again, also we're just so grateful that we've stepped into kind of a formula with this producer, Matt Good. He just digs in and he gets the best performances and the truth out of us, and there's just no bullshit when it comes to Budderside's creative process. We have to strip away all the BS.
And I got to say, besides the songs, what really impresses me about the band is, I mean, not just this video, but all the videos you've done, top quality video. I mean, and it should be noted that Budderside's not like signed to a major label, but you look at this video and it looks like something you would have seen on MTV back in the day,
Right.
And I could tell just by watching it that you take such great pride. Like, I mean, you could go in and just kind of shoot a performance video, even the band, making the song or whatever. But you really, it's high, like a mini film. It really is. It's high quality. You guys put a lot of pride into your videos.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to capture people. It's a great place for people to be introduced to the group. And I think the more that you give them, the better, you know what I mean? The more you can pull them in and keep them locked in. It's hard to keep people's attention nowadays. So it takes something special, visually stimulating and emotionally stimulating at the same time. So we try to bring that every time we have a video. And yeah, I grew up on videos like Feel Good that tells you this crazy story of a gangster and his beginning to the end. And, there's just trying to outdo all of that stuff.
I mean, it's hard to believe as we sit here and talk. Motley Crue's celebrating 40 years of being together as a band this year.
Yeah.
And like I said, Patrick, this particular song, Too Far, is about pretty heavy topic. And like as a songwriter, it must be kind of, to deal with something that you've kind of dealt with. It's not just something you've read about. It's got to kind of help you kind of almost like, I don't know if you want to say therapy, but you kind of realize, I'm not the only one that's kind of been through this. There are other people in the world they've lost people to suicide or whatever.
Yeah, no, dude, it's therapy for us too.
Yeah. And I also want to note that in the new video, you guys flash the suicide hotline up on the screen, which is pretty cool. Have you had any contact with the suicide hotline, or do they know about your video or anything?
I'm not sure that they are aware. I mean, that's just kind of like the go-to. I really kind of wanted to sponsor up with some kind of organization and get the ball rolling a little bit more to really help people.
Yeah.
And, kind of become maybe I've always, because of my sister's death, part of the rock star experience for me in my life and becoming something that's noteworthy is, to be able to kind of create some kind of a safe haven somewhere. That's kind of my ultimate dream, along with everything else.
Well, I'll tell you, besides really being into your music myself, since I started following the band, I mean, it is quite an interesting story. I mean, people talk about paying their dues, but I mean, you're a guy that really did pay your dues. I mean, in the sense I was reading, even before you had a band, Patrick, that you were a roadie for Lemmy or something. So, I mean, you've kind of seen it on all sides.
Yeah, I think I've taken the long way around, but everybody in the group is definitely paying their dues. I mean,
oh yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that.
Another day that Sam's not doing something that involves guitar, and Gabe's off at in Las Vegas doing 5 shows a night. We're all this is what we do, and I think we're finally getting to the point, especially now, reaching people like you, and it taking on such a great meaning for us. Maybe people will finally take us seriously and really put us in the limelight. So,
let me ask you, Sam, what's it like for you being in Budderside? I mean, this probably got to be the biggest thing you've been involved with as well.
It's a really good time. I mean, I do a couple other gigs, but this is the thing where it's my 4 best friends.
Yeah.
And we all write the stuff together. We all talk all hours. All day long, we're texting all the time, and this is kind of the thing where it's like, this is kind of where the heart is,
Yeah.
Other stuff is there to kind of pay the rent and do all that.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I love this.
I know Patrick's kind of the face and the voice of the band, but how involved are you and the other guys in the band with the songwriting?
Very much. Everybody's very, very hands-on.
That's good.
Again, it's everybody kind of brings their ideas to the table, and maybe one guy has an idea that makes that part just that much cooler, or maybe we take it to Matt, and Matt's like, oh, okay, it needs to be this way or that way, and it's all very hands-on from all angles.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'd say the overall, at least to my ears, the overall sound of the band is kind of a cross between like Appetite era Guns N' Roses and maybe Buck Cherry, with a twist of maybe modern rock. But what I dig about what you guys do too is there's not really a Budderside sound, if you will. I mean, there's no rules. You have a real maybe heavy, real aggressive song, and then the next one might be kind of real close to a ballad. You got a little bit of everything for somebody. Everybody out there that might want different things.
Yeah, the band has some history that kind of drags that whole era along with us wherever we go, and we're very proud of that. We all really love that style and stuff, but we're really trying to break into a new kind of I don't know, Sam, how would you describe it? Yeah, more modern, just like you said.
Mainstream.
Yeah, it's just like...
but we all are influenced by that stuff, so we all kind of pull from different places, and you're a what is that? You're a product of your influences.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and so, Sam, as far as some of your guitar heroes that influenced you, who would some of those guys be?
For sure, Jerry Cantrell, Vivian Campbell, Slash.
Wow.
Mostly riff guys, honestly. I'm not a big, like shreddy, noodly guitar player.
Yeah, and Jerry Cantrell is an interesting cat because, I mean, me, myself, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the grunge bands, but I would say the one grunge band that I was really kind of a big fan of was Alice in Chains. Kind of, they got a Sabbathy vibe, but also Jerry, I used to love the way his voice would kind of mesh with Lane Staley's. You know, he's a great lead singer, songwriter. He's kind of a one guy that can kind of do it all, and I think his voice and everything is part of the reason Alice in Chains have been able to stay together, even without Lane Staley, you know?
Oh, completely. And I mean, he wrote a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's all about just the riffs and rad songs. So that's kind of what I love about him the most.
Yeah, and so how has COVID affected you guys? Have you been affected by any of these lockdowns? Because it seems like, at the very least, you just constantly releasing singles and making music.
Gave us a lot of time to work.
Yeah.
And you know, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and I think we've really shown our true colors because you know, if you're going to force us to be alone, then we'll be alone together as a team, and you know, we've come up with you know, we've been recording like crazy, so we have a whole album's worth of material, and we've got this, you know, wonderful way of going about putting each one out one at a time, so that, like, you know, each song really has its day in the sun.
Yeah.
You know, each song really gets the care that it deserves. It doesn't get looked over. So we're just, we really used COVID to just get creative, you know, and really face our inner demons and find out what we really wanted to be about. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You know, we've put out 3 songs from what we started working on during COVID, and these 3 songs are definitely by far our best effort yet. And I think the fans are definitely catching on to that, and as well as, you know, guys like you are hitting us up, and it's just super exciting to hear people say, you know, God, being compared to the Dead Daisies and like being your favorite group is just like, that's, I mean, you give me
well, I mean, you know, when I was growing up, I was growing up, the world was full of, you know, you had a lot of great rock bands, but you know, let's be honest, the older you get, a lot of your heroes start to die. They stop. Some of them are, you know, getting to the point where they're retiring, and so it's not, you know, the music world really isn't what it used to be. Even so much to the point when I was growing up, you wouldn't see bands on the road unless they had new product out. I mean, you had to go in the studio, and you can't hit the road until you got a new album or something to support it. It's not like that anymore, and you really can kind of develop your stuff more, even releasing a single at a time where you can really, you know, get that track out there and really give it some life. And it doesn't necessarily, everything doesn't have to necessarily sound like it fits on one album, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and so I do think there is a certain kind of beauty in that, because if you get inspired by whatever to write a new song, it can be whatever type of song you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's bands like Bad Flower and Don Broco and Ted Sarah and Bring Me the Horizon, and these groups are, you know, so influential to us that it's like, you know, I'll find myself listening to them a lot more than I listen to Led Zeppelin or David Bowie or, you know, Guns N' Roses. You know what I mean? It's like those older era groups and kind of fall into the wayside because there's this whole new, especially with COVID and everything else, this generation has a lot to say, and it's something so different from what we used to talk about. Like you said, rock stars and like, you know, talking about chicks and getting laid.
Yeah. It's a new world, you know? Yeah.
Saving the world and connecting on a level so that, like, we all evolve. There's a whole new rush of stuff coming, and we're excited to be part of it.
Evolution, it kind of reminds me of, like, when I first discovered John Corabi. Like a lot of people, I never heard of him until that first Motley Crue album. And then I kind of go back and I discover all the stuff he did before that with the Scream and what he's done since. And every time he puts out a new album, that guy's a great songwriter. I love it. I just know I'm going to love it already. And see, it's kind of the same thing with, since I've discovered your guys' band, Budderside, because I'm like, man, these are quality songs. This band has something to say. And you know, again, back in the day, bands would go in, they would create a whole album. Like, you look at something like Kiss's Destroyer, just turned 45 years old. 45 years later, that's music, you know, we're still listening to, is my point. And there's a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah. We that way twice. Sam was involved with spiritual violence, but you know, kind of lost my train of thought there. But yeah, you know, there's a huge part of all of that. I sat with John Corabi with his guitar, and we talked for hours and toured together, and I bring a lot of that into this new influx. What we get from Logan and Jeff are completely into Logan especially is into a lot of new modern rock, especially like Bring Me the Horizon and the more electronic based Asking Alexandria, and Jeff Syndrome too, although those are a little older. They're bringing on a lot of this new sound, kind of incorporating all of the things that have come before us into a newer type of grind,
Yeah, and I think what's cool, Patrick, is it doesn't seem like you're the type of guy to hog the spotlight. I mean, I'm kind of guilty of this myself, as far as a lot of people when they hear the name Budderside, you're the guy they think of. You're kind of the face and the voice of the band. But I dig the fact that, like, doing this interview day, you bring Sam along with you, and I think that's the only thing where the band really needs to kind of grow, is where people realize, oh, there are other guys that are in the band, besides the singer.
No, I really hate that. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm grateful because all it's going to do is bring attention to the band, and it's about the band. But I've never liked that, and it's funny because it washes over to even, Sam and I in the band, we have talks about it all the time. Where it's like, don't that cat get away from you. You know what I mean? You don't want to look like that guy.
No, and even obviously talking to you today, the fact that you brought him along, it shows that you're not that guy. But people, make certain assumptions. Yeah.
No, these guys are fucking great, and they deserve. You know what I mean? They deserve to stand in front of me in the pictures. They deserve to have their amplifiers turned up louder than I am. You know what I mean? They're just excellent. You know what I mean? They make me fire off on all cylinders. You know what I mean? It's like, I love being the weakest link in the band. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? So I feel like
I don't even necessarily think it's the fact that you're the weakest or the strongest. I think it's more about being an equal member of the band. I mean, even when I was first growing up and getting Motley Crue, when you're younger, you don't necessarily realize that. That guy Vince, he's a singer, but it's actually Nicky and Mick that wrote all the tunes. He's kind of just the voice. He's a Roger Daltrey of Motley Crue, if you will. And
that's the thing. When it comes to Motley Crue, I never really think of them as like one guy's bigger than the next.
Yeah. And even Nicky these days, he kind of puts that presentation out there. But people kind of rag on Vince, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, Vince, he's got a unique voice. He doesn't sound like any. He's trying to go to bat for his brother, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're all sweet. Sam and I were up at Tommy's not too long ago talking about the tour coming up. Just so exciting to see him. Like, he was acting like a kid,
Yeah. It really is. So, what's next for you guys? I mean, you got another single. This one just literally came out, so I don't imagine for a while.
What's that? Another single?
Yeah, are you at the point where you're going to start working towards the next album, or what does the next year look like for you guys?
We've quite a few more singles,
and they're all part of an album that will come out in summer. We'll start recording the video for the next single at the beginning of the year, and that one will come out at the end of January, early February, just in time for Valentine's Day. It's kind of got a love theme to it, a very dark love theme to it.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to release singles probably, every 6 weeks or so. That gives us enough time to kind of create all the stuff that we want to release with it.
Yeah.
So we've got 8 in the bag, and we're going to go back and do 4 more with Matt Good, because he's just amazing. And all of the songs will be, they've got to be epic, or else we don't put them out. So by summer rolls around, we'll probably have 4 singles that nobody's heard yet that will come out with a full length album.
That's pretty cool, because again, it's kind of interesting. Even doing a single at a time, it gives the songs a little life, and I even feel like back in the day when I was growing up and Kiss would release 2 albums a year or something, it still kind of feels like that. And then at the end of the day, you get a full length album. Kind of, I can get all these songs in one collection now. And I mean, I was talking to one guy who was like in 3 bands, and he was telling me, he said, bands with all this COVID stuff, they usually do one of 2 things. A lot of bands you have say, well, we're not going to release any new music, put anything new out there, not going to even do any live shows until after all of this is done. And we've seen what that's, there's no end in sight, really. But I dig what you guys are doing a lot of it. Like this one guy's telling me, I'm in 3 different bands. I got my next 6 albums already recorded. And so I dig the fact that you guys continue to put new music out there. You're not letting this stuff get in the way of getting new music out to your fans.
You can't. I mean, I feel like you can't, because everybody needs something, especially if when we were all locked down super heavy last year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We were locked down super heavy. We were all listening to music, and you did that through. So.
Yeah. And so Sam, what is? You mentioned you're in another band. You want to talk a little bit about that?
No, but I can.
just real quick for people, or like you're on social media and that if people want to follow you.
Yeah, I'm on social media at Sam Bam Kultun. It's Koltun. I play for a band called Faster Pussycat and a singer named Dorothy. But
oh wow.
We're here to talk about.
I understand, but like I said, we're just trying to shine a light on you, since a lot of people might not be aware of it, but there are other members of the band,
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we're super, stoked that Sam's working with those artists. I mean, nothing but mad respect. Dorothy's got the most insane voice, and she's just, I love her message. She's a sobriety advocate like myself and Sam. And
wow.
Without getting too deep, she believes in a lot of what I do. So I really love her and want her to succeed. Seeing Sam work with her just, puts a nail in that, that she's going to go as far as she possibly can with a guitar player like Sam.
So do you guys have any live shows coming up recently?
Yeah. And, idols of mine since I first stepped onto the Sunset Strip.
Oh, of course.
I remember those guys. I mean, just wow, trippy that he's with them, kind of like me being with Adler.
In a few ways. Trippy in a few ways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now you just mentioned, and I was reading that too, about that you were once in Steven Adler's band Adler's Appetite. What year are we talking, Patrick, and how did he approach you, or how did that all come about?
2011 and 2012.
Oh wow, and so did
it's funny, I've been moonlighting with Quiet Riot, and that didn't work out. I then was brought to Steven Adler through Quiet Riot's guitar player, Alex Grossi.
Oh wow.
That I was the right guy, and by then I was actually tuned up and ready to go outfit that strong. And I nailed it, and that was just so fun. But, left turn and a right turn in directions that you don't really see your career going led me to getting super excited about Budderside, and Lemmy and those guys at the time really pushed me to do this. So I have Steven to thank for a lot of stuff with this group, because I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for that rush that came along.
Because I could see you fronting that band. You'd be the perfect guy to do that. And it's a shame it didn't work out with Quiet Riot. I got all the respect for those guys, but maybe in a way things work out as they say the way they're meant to. Because as great as that would have been to get a gig like that, there would have probably been that added pressure of you're stepping into the place of a guy that's passed on, and you just never know what kind of how that's going to work out for people.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if I had nailed that one, I'd still be doing it. And while that would be amazing and great and a huge honor, again, it's like I was put on this earth. I know to do this, what I'm doing now, and I don't have time for anything else. To be honest.
Yeah, because I have no doubt you could have done it, but I do think, like I said, things happen for a reason. You're in a place in life now where you're kind of in control of your own destiny, so to speak. You're creating your own original music. As great as Quiet Riot would have been to get, you would have been primarily playing other people's music, and that's a great way to get a start in the business. But I think it's kind of worked out the way it was meant to.
Yeah, it's funny. I was trying to keep us from talking about
well, we can move on. I got it. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry about myself. Sam was going to say something about what was trippy.
I was just going to say, on the same subject, with him saying it was trippy about the Faster Pussycat thing, that's trippy for us that he sang with Steven Adler, with the whole band being, GNR fans. That is a cool thing.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Patrick, were you around Steven Adler at all when Guns N' Roses got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Oh, so that would have to be pretty cool, grow up on this band and you're actually playing with the original drummer.
Dude, it's insane because, I was a tiny little child listening to Paradise City bouncing up and down on my bed.
Yeah, I bet.
chorus, and like, I don't know, to me there was just this feeling that I never got from music before when I heard that chorus.
Yeah.
It's melodic, but yet dirty, and like, it just explained all of life in that one chorus, you know? And I went on to become, like, I felt like I was the biggest Guns N' Roses fan that ever lived. Everybody at school kind of almost made fun of me because I was such an Axl. And coming to LA, you know, and then losing touch with all of my high school friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just had to pinch myself constantly because I've had so many interactions with those guys. As brief as some of them were, some of them locked in and, like, you know, standing on stage with Steven Adler, the drummer from that very band, night after night, singing those songs. Just, you know, again, on that bed as a child, thinking to myself, fuck, I'll never be able to sing this stuff. It's so hard to sing. And then, you know, training, and then nailing notes that you never thought you could, standing in front of one of your biggest heroes.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the ultimate fanboy experience in the sense that, you know, you grew up on this band, this music, and you're up on stage playing those very songs that influenced you with the guy who was in the band. And Steven's got an interesting story. I know he's been through a lot of stuff in life like you. And what's kind of interesting is he released that one Adler album, and man, it was a big hit. Everybody was buying it. You were hearing all about, and never did another album. And I understand from what some of the guys in his band had told me. You know, Steven had trouble, like, you know, with his sobriety, and it's hard to be on the road, and they did everything to try to help him. But I gotta give it to Steven. He's still out there. I just wish that one day we'd get a new album from him. But hey, it's interesting. That's the only solo album or thing we get from Steven Adler. He, even with that one album, he made his mark, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But before the album, he made his mark, so he was kind of, you know.
No, what I'm saying is, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, a lot of people only get, like, maybe that one big chance in life. He kind of had a chance to do it twice, and, you know, which is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare to see a band that really keeps the wheels on, all of the wheels on the bus, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as a Guns fan, I was surprised. I never thought Slash, especially Slash, would go back to playing with Axl, but, man, they've been doing it ever since, so you gotta love them for that.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, you know, if anyone was fighting to get Adler back in the group, it would have been Slash. I mean, they're all still friends, you know, it's just,
yeah.
I have my own ideas as to why it doesn't really go down, but Sam and I, front row, we went to the Palladium together and watched that whole show, and then he just saw them again in Arizona while we were there.
Yeah.
You know, we're still huge fans. I'm still a big, huge fan of Steven Adler. I mean, I love what he's doing with Todd Kearns and the new lineup. You know, I love to see the success that they're having out there in Las Vegas, playing it looked like the entire world was in front of them. But, you know, our mission and our goal with this band is to get that and achieve that for ourselves. I mean, Sam just played for 40,000 people the other night in Rockville with Dorothy, and, you know, a part of me is super jealous. It's just getting Sam used to something like that for us, so.
Yeah, but, you know, you've had your own kind of success, I mean, and that it's got to be a great feeling, especially talk about the power of internet. You have people contacting you every day about your music, telling you how much they love your songs, and I mean, I'm sure you hear from people like in different parts of the world, places where you've never even played or stepped foot in. That's got to be a great, wow, on the other side of the world, somebody's listening to my song right now.
Yeah, that means a lot. I mean, that's something that you created means something to somebody else, or that they dig it and they take the time to reach out and say that they like it, or that it's helped them in any way. I mean, that means a ton to everybody. Yeah,
it really does. And like I said, I'm loving what you guys are doing. And anytime you have stuff to promote, let's do this, because I'm all about spreading the word about great music, and I think you guys fit in with that. So also, Sam, I urge you to kind of, if you don't have my phone, I'm going to get it from Patrick, because anytime you want to promote any of your other bands, I'm up for that.
I appreciate that, man. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, and so you guys got any new stuff you're working on as far as writing, or you got stuff to kind of record, right? Is that what you're saying?
Constantly sending each other ideas far beyond what we could possibly sit down and record for an album right now. We've got more than we need.
Yeah.
But we are constantly exchanging ideas, and you know, we have 8 in the bag for this next record, and we're going to start probably working on the next 4 pretty soon.
Okay.
But, you know, we go in with not good, and it's almost better to like kind of not wing it, but like if we're forced to come up with our best stuff, we will.
Yeah.
Have great confidence that we will. But there's some really cool ideas that Sam and Logan have been sharing with us lately that I'm pretty excited about getting to work on. So we're constantly creating. If it's media or videos or
constantly doing something. Yeah, always constantly working on something.
So let me ask you, Sam, are you the only guitar player in the band, or does Budderside have two guitar players?
No, we have a second guitar player. That's Logan.
And how do you and Logan go about kind of dividing the guitar parts? Is one guy have a lead and the other guy have a rhythm, or do you kind of just play the parts you wrote?
It's mostly me lead and Logan rhythm, and then but we kind of do that. Kind of like play the parts that each other writes, and there's certain things like a live situation. I think is a way better singer than I am.
Oh wow!
So we a lot more of the backing vocals, whereas I'm doing kind of more of the guitar part. Stuff like that just kind of works itself out.
See, it's those little things that give a band a really great sound. I mean, like if you go back and you listen to those classic Van Halen albums, I mean, as great of a vocalist as David Lee Roth was, I mean, Michael Anthony's background vocals, they were key to that band.
Yeah, just like we were talking about Alice in Chains before, there isn't, I mean, Cantrell's amazing on his own.
Yeah.
So is David Lee Roth, but put the two together, there's a certain feeling you get,
Yeah, another band that kind of comes to mind when you think about that is those Deep Purple records where you had Coverdale and Hughes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just monster. And I always loved bands that like had two guitar players. I don't know. It just seemed like when you have those two guitar players kind of to play off of each other, it's better than just having one guy do everything.
It's a weird thing because I like both.
Yeah.
I like the one guitar player situation and it sounding gigantic like Alice in Chains does with one, but then I love like the GNR or the Aerosmith where there's two guys doing two different things, and it's really cool.
Perfect example of that is kind of like Mick Mars. I mean, I never realized until a few years ago what a great guitar player he really is. That's a guy that really never gets his credit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing why, like, them kind of tuning down back sounded so much bigger, kind of tuned down, to the full step down for those who know about what guitar is. But, yeah, it's amazing just sounding huge as one guitar.
Yeah, and so final question for today. I was curious, Patrick, I know you were originally signed to Motorhead Records. I was wondering if you're signed to another label now, or is Motorhead Records even still around? Because I was just curious, like, did somebody take over that when Lemmy passed away?
They are. I'm sure they are. It's just I still talk to them. I was on the phone with them
recently. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Wow. Okay.
They're still very heavily involved in mentoring and keeping up with Budderside. They're very excited for us. They're still helping me work out the kinks and stuff that we have as far as the past goes. The first two records. Them. So they're amazing, and they're on our side. They're pushing for us to become the greatest thing we can. They're doing everything they can to help us. But I think that we've stepped into a team now that's just like the music. It's a little bit more modern situation where everybody involved is kind of right in the middle of the mix, right here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's the next step up, which makes sense, and And even though Lemmy's no longer with us, I love the way that Phil and Mickey continue to kind of carry the flag for Motorhead, if you will. And I think, I don't know if you know, Mickey, I heard, he's now the drummer of the Scorpions. I mean, that's just great.
Yeah, their new video on the single is sick. And Mickey's been with them for
a while now. But yeah.
Aware of, but one of my favorite people on the planet is Mickey and Phil, especially Phil. It's just he's like my blood brother, man. He's just, he will always be family, and I love him to death, and I miss Lemmy like crazy, and I still wish every day that he was around to talk to me.
I almost have a feeling that he's looking over your career, your guardian angel, so to speak.
He's in the video. He's in the most recent video. Did you catch that?
I have to go back. I didn't catch that. Okay, wow. I was focused on everything else.
There's a statue at the Rainbow, and there's a line in the song that says, what does it say, Sam?
Not living up to them.
Yeah, that's all the expectations and not living up to them. It magically kind of appeared right as that line was being sang. We get this shot of Lemmi's statue, and it's a great monster to be looking at. Because all I want to do in life is be as big and as awesome as Lemmy. And if you aim for the moon, maybe you reach the stars, you know?
And even being the legend that he was, you know, right up till the day he died, from what I understand, he was just like a normal guy. In spite of all his success, I mean, he didn't have any fancy like mansion. He lived right above the, the whiskey for years and years, and he just was a no-thrill guy, you know, and did his thing, and more power to him. And you know, as we sit here, another thing, just talking about that you'd audition for Quiet Riot and that, and Lemmy, there's that statue of Lemmy at the whiskey, and I understand they recently unveiled one of Frankie Banali. Kind of small world, huh?
Yeah, it's in there too. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just we've all in the group have been just so. It's like a dream, man. Really, it's like something out of a dream, and it's people they don't believe it even if you tell them. It's just a magical life. We've been so blessed to have been like touched by so many magical people, and I think it's influenced the group and where we want to go, and I think it will shape us to be a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I'm gonna end the interview on this, saying that, you know, a lot of times you know, bands get negative responses just for their music or whatever, people trying to censor them, but this is a band, especially with the new single and video for Too Far. You guys, I think, are really doing something with your music. I mean, on one hand, I mean, just stop and think about this for a minute. Not only you getting kind of personal about things that you've encountered yourself, Patrick, in your life, but I mean, just think if somebody sees that video and they've been having these suicidal thoughts, or they're going through something in their life, and they see your video and that suicide hotline prevention number flashes on the screen because they've seen that video. They think, you know, maybe because what I'm going through, I'll call that number, see if I can get some help. Just hearing your song and seeing your video could help somebody. I mean, just think about that for a minute.
I hope so.
And people never get credit to rock bands for doing stuff like that. But I say, thumbs up, guys, and keep up the great work. And I'll talk to you again down the line. The interview probably go up in about a week or two. I'll let you know the minute it goes up, and feel free to post it anywhere you like.
Hell yeah, man! Cool. Thank you so much for having us and believing in us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, any time, and like I said, not just you, Patrick, but Sam. Anytime you got anything to promote, you want to do an interview with me, Patrick's got my number. He can give it to you, but I'll hit you up online. But thanks for taking part in today's interview as well.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm always down. But that was fun. Thanks for having us.
Okay, yeah, maybe next time, Sam. I'd love to interview you about being in Faster Pussycat. I think that'd make a cool interview.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, take care, buddy. Bye-bye. And you too, Patrick. Bye-bye.